you guys. Okay, so let me grab my book. So I'm a little nasally, so sorry. Allergies, really bad allergies, that's all. So I hope that you're all doing okay. I'm trying to keep the reading, less conversational and more educational. And so, I am trying to stop at points to remind you of vocabulary so that you can jot those down. And I go live every day for about 15 minutes. And so that's sort of where, I just kind of do a chit chat with you guys. Not all school related, just updates and, just to kind of keep you in the loop. Okay. And Miss Friedman is doing good mornings. So if you check your email, you'll be able to connect over to YouTube for that. All right, so we're on page 43 and we're reading The Hunter. Night caught us, but we kept going, traveling by the North Star all the time. I reckon it had been dark about 3 hours when we came upon a thicket of pine trees, and I smelled food cooking. I stopped quickly and held out my arms so Ned would be quiet, like do this, right? So Ned would be quiet. I turned my head, but I couldn't see the fire or the smoke. Now, I didn't know what to do. Go back, go forward, move to one side. Then somebody spoke. Now, don't this just beat everything? I turned around so fast, I dropped the bundle on the ground. But I felt much better when I saw another black face standing there looking down on us. And looking down on us because he was tall, not like looking down on them the way we use that phrase today, right? Looking down because he's really tall and they're children, so they're little. He had a green stick about the size and length of a beanpole. He had come up on us quickly, so he could have killed both of us with the stick before we even saw him. What in the world y'all doing way out here? He said. Y'all by yourself? Just me and this little boy, I said. Lord have mercy, he said. He was one of the fussiest people I'd ever seen. Y'all come on over here, he said. I picked up my bundle and me and Ned followed him back to his camp. He had a rabbit cooking on the fire. He nodded for me and Ned to sit down. I saw a bow and arrows leaning against one of the trees. The man squatted by the fire and looked at us. Now, where in the world y'all think you're all going, he said. Ohio, I said. My lord, he said. I done see things these last few weeks, but if this don't beat everything, I don't know. Coming and going, and they don't know what they're doing than the rabbit I got cooking on that fire. I bet you're all hungry. We got something to eat, I said. What, potatoes and corn that you done stole? He said, don't have to tell me, I already know. I done met others just like y'all. He took the rabbit off the fire and laid it on the leaves he had spread out on the ground. Then he took a knife from his belt and cut the rabbit up in 3 pieces. When it had cooled off good, he handed me and Ned a piece. He had seasoned it down good with wild onions that he had found out there in the swamps. You going north? I asked him. No, I'm staying where I'm going right now, he said. South. I quit eating. You gotta be crazy, I said. I reckon you got all the sense dragging that child through the swamps all time of night, he said. Good thing I'm a friend, not an enemy. I heard y'all long before you stopped back there listening. I'd been leaning on that pole so long I was fixing to fall asleep. We was quiet, I said. Quiet for you, not for me, he said. A dog ain't got nothing on these ears. Right? It's spelled Y-E-R-S, but he means ears. These ears. Right? These ears. What do you think keeping me going? Potatoes and corn? I didn't answer him. The rabbit was good, but I didn't want to show him how much I liked it. Just nibbling here and there like I was particular. Who you know in Ohio, he asked me. Just Mr. Brown, I said. Mr. Brown who? Mr. Brown, a Yankee soldier, I said. Lord have mercy, the hunter said, shaking his head. Now I done heard everything. How come you going back south, I said. What? He said. He wasn't eating. He was thinking about me looking for Brown. I'm looking for my pappy, he said. But it looked like he was still thinking about me looking for Brown. Your mama dead? I asked. What? He looked at me. No, my mama ain't dead. He just looked at me a good while, like he was thinking about me looking for Brown. I know where she at, he said. I want to find him now. Y'all used to stay here in Louisiana, I asked. What? He said. Your daddy and y'all. When they sold him, he's Mississippi, the hunter said. I don't know where he at now. But then how you know where to look for him, I asked. He got mad with me now. I'm going to do just what you're doing with that child, he said. Look everywhere. But I get a little more sense. Well, if you was beat all the time, you'd be running away too, I said. I was beat, he said. Don't go around here bragging like you got all the beating. I ate and sucked on the bone. I didn't want to argue with him no more. Who is them other people you seen? I asked him. Any of them going to Ohio? They were going everywhere, he said. Some say Ohio, some say Kansas, some say Canada. Some of them even say Louisiana, Mississippi. Louisiana and Mississippi ain't north, I said. That's right, it ain't north, the hunter said. But they had left out just like you. Few potatoes, another old dress, no map, no guide, no nothing. Like freedom was a place coming to meet them halfway. Well, it ain't coming to meet you, and it might not be there when you get there either. We ain't giving up, I said. We done gone this far. How far, he asked me. How long you been traveling? 3 days, I said. And how far you think you done in them 3 days? You ain't even left the plantation yet. I ought to know. I've been going and going, and I ain't nowhere yet myself, just searching and searching. When he said this, he looked like he wanted to cry, and I didn't look at him. I looked at Ned. Ned had laid down on the ground and gone to sleep. He still had the flint and iron in his hands. I told the hunter about the Sekish who had killed Ned's mama and the other people. He told me he had seen some of the Sekish handiwork too. Earlier that same day, he had cut a man down and buried him that the Sekish had hung. After hanging him, they gashed his entrails, so they cut his stomach open, is what they're saying. What'd they do that for? I asked. Lesson to other niggers, he said. We sat there talking and talking, both of us glad we had somebody to talk to. I asked him about the bow and arrows. He told me he had made it to shoot rabbits and birds. Sometimes he even got a fish or two. I told him I bet I could use it. He said I didn't have the strength. He said it took a man to pull back on the bow. I asked him what he knowed about my strength, but he kept quiet. After a while, he said, y'all want me to lead y'all back where y'all came from? We didn't come from Ohio, I said. You just a pig-headed little old nothing, he told me. I didn't ask you for your rabbit, I said. Now I was full and I got smart. I don't like no old rabbit nohow, I said. How come you ate the bones, he said. I didn't eat no rabbit bones, I said. What I ought to do is knock y'all out and take y'all on back, he said. I bet you I haul around here and make them Sekish come and kill us too, I said. You can holler if you can't. How can you holler if you're knocked out, dried up nothing, he said. I had to think fast. I holler when I wake up, I said. I don't care about you, but I care about that little fella there, the hunter said. Just look at him. He might be dead already. He ain't dead, he's sleeping, I said. And I can take care of him myself. You can't take care of you. How can you take care of somebody else, the hunter said. You can't kill a rabbit. You can't kill a bird. Do you know how to catch a fish? That ain't all you got to eat in this world, I said. He looked at Ned again. If I wasn't looking for my pappy, I'd force y'all back, he said. Or force y'all somewhere so somebody can look after y'all. Two children tramp around the swamps by themselves. I ain't never heard of nothing like this in all my born days. We done made it this far. We can make it, I said. You ain't gonna make nothing, he said. Don't you know you ain't gonna make nothing, you little dried up thing? You should have kept that old rabbit, I said. I don't like old rabbit meat nohow. He didn't want to argue with me no more. Go on to sleep, he said. I'll stand watch over y'all. No, you don't, I said. You just want to take us back. Go on, sleep, Nat, he said. I shook Ned and he woke up crying. I told him the Sekish was going to catch him if he kept up that noise. I let him sit there till he had rubbed the sleep out of his eyes. Then we got up and left. All the time the hunter didn't say a word. We went a little piece till we couldn't see the camp no more. Then we turned around and came back. I had made up my mind to stay awake all night. Well, how was Ohio? He said. Ned lay down in the same place and went right back to sleep. I sat beside him watching the hunter. I felt my eyes getting heavy, but I did everything to keep them open. I dug my heel in the ground. I hummed a song to myself. I poked in the fire with a stick. But nature catch up with you and you don't care what you do. When I woke up, the sun was high in the sky. Something was cooked there for Ned and me. A crow, a hawk, an owl, I don't know what. But there it was, done and cold, and the hunter was gone. So I like the hunter. I think that he genuinely cares for Jane and Ned. Jane, we know, is determined and she's sassy. But his kind gesture at the end, he leaves her something to eat for her and Ned when they wake up in the morning. And he's gone. He's gone looking for his pappy. His purpose was to feed them. At least that's how I read into it. Maybe you've come across somebody in your life that, people come in our lives for just a moment, and sometimes their purpose was big. It might be somebody that you met that led you somewhere, like the hunter. We never know. We never know when we meet people if we're affecting their lives or they're affecting ours. But maybe you could journal about a time that somebody you met made a difference in who you are today. Okay? I'll see you for the old man. It's a long chapter.